Weeknights on Channel 3 News at 6 and 11.
Good morning. It's an uneasy morning for battered residents of Southern California. They're waking up to a nightmare that is still all too real, waking to destruction left by the area's strongest earthquake in a quarter century. It's left at least 30 dead, thousands injured, and millions shaken.
And I'm just glad to be alive.
Hello, is anybody there?
We're fine. Don't worry. We're okay.
Ruptured water mains, blazing fires, and crumpled freeways are just part of the hangover. The property and human toll is still being tallied. On this morning after, officials are talking of assistance and recovery, but for many Southern Californians, it's unclear if the shock of the quake is wearing off or just setting in today, Tuesday, January the 18th, 1994.
From NBC News, this is Today with Bryant Gumbel and Katie Couric.
Good morning and welcome to Today on a Tuesday morning, the morning after, almost 24 hours after right now.
You know, seeing all those images, the most haunting one for me, Bryant, is the woman who ran down to try to find her daughter's home
And
and
the home
saw
was
that
gone.
it was no more. It was just so heart-wrenching.
Yeah, they're still tallying it up out there, and the numbers are not good. In Southern California, residents are awaking to the reality of a killer quake that has upended their lives and left the Los Angeles area struggling to recover from that area's worst earthquake in decades. Many are grieving for the dead. Injury and damage are widespread. Water supplies have been sharply reduced, and some residents have even been warned to boil what water they do have. Damage to roads is extensive. At least 6 of the area's freeways have been damaged, so getting to work today will be difficult, if not impossible. At least 30 people are dead. Thousands of others have been injured. At one point, more than 600,000 people didn't have any power. At least 200,000 didn't have any water. NBC's George Lewis is in Northridge this morning, just northwest of Los Angeles. It's the area that's believed to be the epicenter of the quake. And George, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Well, it hasn't been a very restful night for people here in Southern California. Aftershocks keep rumbling through the area, and everybody's nerves are still on edge.
A few thousand Los Angeles residents spent the night camped out in city parks, afraid to return to their homes and apartments.
My baby was so scary, and especially when he hears the fire truck, he's screaming, and he's very nervous about.
This is the scene that greeted some of them Monday morning at 4:30, an eerie mixture of fire and water from ruptured utility pipes. There were at least 100 fires, mostly from gas leaks. The hardest hit areas were the San Fernando Valley communities of Northridge, Granada Hills, and Sylmar. Many of the deaths occurred when this apartment building collapsed in Northridge. The apartment housed mainly students from a nearby State University campus. Thousands of people were treated for injuries. There were plenty of acts of heroism as victims were rescued from collapsed structures. There were also a few instances of greed. This man was peddling cheap flashlights to earthquake refugees and charging $7 apiece.
Aren't you taking advantage of these people? Isn't what you're doing price gouging?
Many of those who camped out overnight will be returning home this morning to assess the damage, to see what can be salvaged, and to try to put their lives back together.
This is going to be anything but a normal day in Los Angeles. Schools all over the place are closed, businesses are closed, and the experts are now just beginning to assess the damage. Katie?
Thanks, George. As George just mentioned, the schools in Los Angeles are closed today, and so are many businesses, but many others are not. So this morning, hundreds of thousands of people will try to get to work the only way they know how, by car. And it's not going to be easy. NBC's Jim Cummins joins us now with an explanation. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Katie. People around here are about to feel another aftershock from Monday's quake when they get up this morning and try to drive to work. 5 interstate highways, including California's major north-south route, are badly damaged and remain closed in many places. So how will people get to work?
It will be an inconvenience. It will take probably a longer time for some individuals to get to work, but we will reroute them and get us back to business as soon as possible.
But that won't happen soon because LA Mayor Richard Riordan is urging people to stay off the roads.
Our roadways and power systems will be severely stressed. So anything you can do to limit travel and use of water and electricity will help everybody.
The authorities are estimating it will take 3 to 5 years to restore the damaged roadways. In the short term, they are struggling to restore power to more than 600,000 customers and water to 50,000 homes. Many natural gas lines were also ruptured. This is the County Emergency Command Center, which is primarily responsible for the roads and maintaining order.
But as far as safe from a personal safety perspective, absent another earthquake, LA County is safe, yes.
It's under control.
Under control, absolutely.
Police say overnight there were about 40 arrests for curfew violations and looting, and that curfew will be lifted this morning, Katie, shortly after daybreak.
All right, Jim Cummins, thanks a lot, Jim. The earthquake left thousands suddenly homeless. NBC's Larry Carroll has been keeping track of some of them as they cope with the tragedy, and with some others who, while not homeless, are nevertheless working to put their lives back together. Larry, good morning.
Good morning to you. And the good news out here is that the weather has been blessedly mild. None of the real chilly temperatures or rain or into the high winds that have been happening in this area for the last couple of weeks. But at the same time, there have been those insistent, periodic reminders of what happened here, the terror that began 24 hours ago, aftershocks that have continued all night long. For those who live in the areas hardest hit, it's been an uneasy night. Many people couldn't go home.
Everything is broken in our apartments. You know, there's no water, no power, no food. So we had to come right here at the park.
We're afraid to go home, and we can't go home because we don't know if it's safe or not. So we're just here with everybody else. We feel a lot safer.
A dusk to dawn curfew was ordered in the quake area by Los Angeles Mayor Richard Riordan, designed in part to keep looters out.
We're not going to allow any type of activity that occurred a year and a half ago to occur any place in the city of Los Angeles. It's going to be dealt with quickly, very swiftly, and very emphatically. If you try something, you're going to get arrested, you're going to go to jail.
But many people were on the streets. Police were told to enforce the curfew by using common sense and not arresting innocent pedestrians. Police are working 12-hour shifts and extra street patrols have been set out. And firemen continued to be kept busy. There was no let-up in the blazes that have broken out since the quake hit. It will be some time before these people can put their lives back together. But many have one thought in common.
You know, it doesn't matter the loss of your furniture or whatever. The happiest thing is that we are alive and well, you know.
And that's something we can all agree on. And believe me, the longer we all live past 4:31 Monday morning, the more relaxed we're all going to be. Brian?
All right. Larry Carroll, thanks very much. The total impact of Monday's earthquake, which measured 6.6 on the Richter scale, has been devastating. California's Governor Pete Wilson this morning is at the quake's epicenter in Northridge. Governor Wilson, good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
Give us your assessment, if you would, of the extent of the damage and the major problems it has created as you see them.
We won't know the magnitude of the damage for a while. It'll take a couple of days to fully assess what the costs of replacement will be in terms of public and private property, but the major cost, obviously, we've lost over 30 lives here, some 16 in the building behind me. You know, there's no way you can replace those people or make any sort of truly consoling statements to their loved ones. The damage for those who have survived, many are still unable to return to their homes. The utilities are going to try desperately and have been to restore service for water, power. We have all of the state buildings in the area open except one, which has been seismically damaged. There was some limited law enforcement activity during the evening. There's a lot of activity, but about 40 arrests. We've had excellent cooperation between all levels of government, federal, state, and local. The firefighters who were so magnificent during the blazes here in October have been working overtime here. We've had search and rescue operations at this site and some others. There will be terrible disruption for a long time, really major inconvenience on freeways. Severely damaged and have to be repaired.
Well, as dawn breaks this morning then, Governor, you've given us a fairly lengthy laundry list. What are your priorities?